Hey, let's try this again.
Take two, the art of getting to know your man.
Mhm.
Why did you title it that?
Well, I call it an art because there's it's a delicate experience. Like you need to have this awareness about you of who you're dealing with.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like it takes a little bit of it's like a dance almost. You know, you're experiencing somebody, but you're also dedicating like listening to them.
Mhm.
You're listening to them, what they're telling you. You're noticing their behaviors, you're noticing their patterns, you're noticing what maybe ticks them off. You're noticing what feels good for them, what doesn't feel good for them. It's an art form, right? And then you're making like a collage, a picture out of that. And it's a one that's moving, right? It's a moving picture. So I call it an art because I think a lot of times as women, and I'm guilty of this, I have been, it's like you want men to understand you and to like, work with you and then where you're coming from. It's a two-way street again. So you can dedicate that time to really getting to know your man and like in a real way, right? Like not in a way where it's like you want to catch them at something, if that makes sense. It's getting to know who you're dealing with.
Well, if you're an artist, you learn your medium.
That's a really good way to say it.
You learn
Exactly.
your medium and it's important to you. So if you start as a sculptor, you don't not give a shit about it and just be like, meh, whatever happens, happens. Hopefully it's good and then I'll sell it. That's just not, or I'll put it on a shelf, or that's not how we do art. Usually when we do art, we are very much invested in it.
That's right.
And I think that is the thing. You need to be invested in your man. And if you're not, may I be so bold to say, then what are you doing with them?
That's right. I think I mean this is another topic we can get into, but there needs to be two people showing interest in getting to know each other. So
Yes, and the art of knowing your woman. We can talk about that for sure. But the art of getting to know your man, I think as women, we forget that men don't talk or communicate the way we do. And I'm not saying
mhm,
men are the same, but they have this man gene.
mhm,
It's a little bit, they don't necessarily want to sit down and talk for 2 hours about getting to know each other and everything. So there's a subtle dance
mhm,
figuring out, which to me is the same as the sculptor. If you think about with the clay, so if you're part of that, you got to get to know it. So some of me, the art of getting to know your man is listening, right?
mhm,
Not all
mhm,
you can ask. Like the last topic we did was, what do you want me to wear? So there's some asking and then there's some listening. Same as getting to know their other likes and dislikes, I think. How about
yes,
the art of knowing they're quiet and then your shit comes in and you think they're mad at you, but if you really knew them, you'd notice, this happens every time they come back from work this week. What happened at work? Like
mhm,
those kind of things. Can you really start to get that subtlety of reading them?
mhm. And yeah, it helps to know what works for them and what doesn't work for them in a subtle way like that, right?
Yeah.
So I pretty much just repeated what you just said.
It's like the love languages, but there's a little bit more of a navigation to it. I think there's a little bit of a roadmap. I think one thing I've noticed this year is the way they react with me is not the way they react. We have different relationships with all different people. And as women, that tends to tick us off. Well, that's not how you are with, no, it's not, because that's a whole different energetic than how they are with me. So I have
Mm-hmm.
to start reading the art of, okay, usually you're this way with me, and today I know you're really, notice you're really snippy. Well, we must be done. No, 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 no. Why do we as women a lot of times, and maybe that's my personality too, but I think of this as the feminine, we want to just talk about it. Let's just talk about it and deal with it right now. And that might not be the art of getting to know your man. Maybe he needs some time. Maybe he needs to unwind. Maybe it's absolutely not about you.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And too, like also what kind of a person you're dealing with, you know, like stepping it up a notch to like a wider scope. Like, are you dealing with somebody who's extremely sexual? Are you dealing with somebody who's not sexual as much? Are you dealing with somebody who's more moody, right? Are you dealing with somebody who likes mental stimulation? Are you dealing with somebody who likes physical stimulation where it's like physical activity? Or, and like, that's getting to know somebody's interests. But like, you know, keeping that in mind when you're dealing with somebody, their energy, right? And
No,
how they're approaching things that they want to do with you, things that they want to do in general, things that make them happy.
absolutely. What if, I think you're 1000%. What if when they're super stressed, their libido is down and you're taking that as a rejection and it really has nothing to do with you? Or what if they're the other way? That's how they deal with stress and they get super amorous and then you
Mhm.
don't know the stresses. Like there's a lot to know. And we're not talking about the problems between you and your partner so much in this little mini pod. That's a whole different discussion. But you have to really navigate, maybe get your head out of your ass sometimes and realize it's not always about you. I like
It's
to think
true.
it's always about me and you should just pay attention to me. And I know you had a really bad week, but I want to go on a date and this is where I want to eat and this is what I want to do. And you should be able to put that all aside and lavish me with love after you've worked 30 days and 8 hours a day. And you're, well, that's not the way it works, right? So in particular, the man I'm dating had a really crappy week last week and he thought maybe I wouldn't want to be around him, and I had to navigate that discussion to go, okay, does he really not want me there, or does he just need to know that he's not going to be himself, and am I going to be okay with that? Because notoriously women aren't. We want to fix it, or can we just be, you know what, I'm just going to show up and be. Oh, okay, yeah, I'd be okay with that. Okay, so stop pressuring.
That's right. It's an art form, like you said, a dance of knowing, you know, I think that men are actually a lot more sensitive than they like to lead on to things. And it's a matter of, right? It's a matter of, because as women, we are curious about things and we want to know and we want to fix and we want to change and we want to, you know, I think that we can be the ones to invest that artistic approach to getting to know our partners. And then it's returned, right? Like if you're in a healthy relationship, it's going to go two ways.
I think it will, and you can talk about it. And I don't know, if you could look at it as a navigation and a fun thing and a piece of art, you can start to even talk to them about it. It's like, hey, did you notice your pattern? Don't worry about it. I'm totally happy to do that because this is, oh, yeah, you're right. So it doesn't become this, right? It's like you've navigated in a gentle way so that you're not just nitpicking. You're actually getting to know who they are.
Yes, because once you get to have a little bit more compassion for who somebody is, doesn't
Yeah.
matter who it is, but in this case, we're talking about relationships.
Yeah.
Once you have more compassion for who you're dealing with, their story, why they're like the way they are, maybe why they're behaving that way in that moment, it changes the way you respond in your relationship or the way you react or don't react, right?
Which ultimately allows you to have a better relationship, so it's better for you. And that's what we're getting at. You should have joy and love in your life, but you're going to have it way better if you do that. And then we're going to bring in mini pods about how about your astrology with their astrology? Have you looked at that? Maybe you need to know how they react to anger, how they fight. How do they fight? That could be there's an art to fighting. That can be a whole other mini pod.
An art to fighting.
Yeah, I don't know. We got some juicy stuff coming down the line.
We do. And that is maybe where we should end this one, part one.
The art of getting. Well, I'm curious to hear well, maybe we don't read the comments, but if you want to come have a discussion with us on our other platforms, please do that. We are developing some new programs and we're just like this. If you want to work with us, very casual, go to our link tree. It'll be at the bottom here or on our YouTube page or all our social media and interact with us. And if you want to use some of our products, they're there too.
Yeah, and Tony and I are very passionate about relationships and romance and love and passion and sex and all that fun stuff. So we're excited to kind of talk in these realms
Yeah.
moving forward.
Okay, we'll do the art of wearing red lipstick.
Mhm.
Okay. Are you sure you want to stop recording? Come work with us at our linktree.com site, www.linktr.ee/redlipstickbabes. Can't wait to see you there.